If you felt stuck trying to lose weight, you're not alone. Enter Weight Loss by Hers. It's designed to support you in reaching your goals. And Hers now offers access to an affordable range of FDA-approved GLP-1 medications, including the Wegovy pill at its lowest price ever and the Wegovy pen. With Wegovy at Hers, lose up to 20% or more of your body weight when combined with diet and exercise. It helps you regulate your appetite, eat less, and keep weight off. Plus, Wegovy is the first and only GLP-1 available in a pill, so there are no needles needed. Everything is 100% online through Hers. You'll connect with a licensed provider who will determine if treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is delivered right to your door. No insurance necessary. And it doesn't stop there. Weight Loss by Hers goes beyond medication by offering access to 24/7 messaging with your care team and tons of in-app lifestyle and nutrition tips like recipes, meal plans, fitness videos, sleep content, and more. Even better, with a range of affordable GLP-1 options, Hers makes it simple to find an approach that fits your needs and your budget if eligible. You'll get a treatment plan personalized to you and unlimited dosage changes as needed. It's weight loss designed to work with your life. Ready to reach your goals? Visit forhers.com/women to get personalized, affordable care that gets you. That's forhers.com/women. forhers.com/women. Based on advertised cash price for 30-day supply of medication only. Membership required. Fee not included. And billed separately. Weight Loss by Hers is not available in all 50 states. Wegovy is the registered trademark of Novo Nordisk A/S. To get started and learn more, including important safety information, Wegovy clinical study information, and restrictions, visit forhers.com.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Altar Call. I am your host, Tane, here with a brand new episode. This episode, I'm going to be talking about the documentary on Netflix called Untold, The Death and Life of Lamar Odom. And my guest today is a special one. It is Aid. Hi, Aid. How are ya?
I'm good. I'm especially good when I get called the special one.
Yeah. You should know
Better
that by
than the other
now.
ones. Better than the other ones.
But yeah, thanks for joining me to talk about this documentary. I know you have many thoughts about it. If you could describe what you felt about this documentary in one line, how would you
Oh,
describe it?
I was pissed.
Oh, wasn't expecting that.
I was surprised actually. I mean, you go through a lot of things. I can't say it's hard to sum it up in one sentence. I think
Mhm.
I went from having I call it whenever I'm watching something about somebody's life, and this is a fairly
Mhm.
recent thing, but I start to count how many adverse childhood experiences can one person have?
Mm.
And then I just morphed into okay, I understand bad things happen to you, but I'm just kind of pissed off at you.
um,
You?
I'm not. I feel like this was not a well done documentary. I still feel like we were keeping it surface. I don't think we went really deep
Mhm.
into it. And I'm like, what is the point of this besides Lamar just still wanting to have a taste of being
Mm.
famous with this? And can I ask you what you thought about the title? Like it's called so my husband walked by and saw the death and he was like, "Oh my god, he died." I'm like, "Well."
There were some people on Threads who were also confused.
And I'm like, he was like, "Did I miss it?" And they did a documentary already. And I'm like, "No, he didn't die." I'm guessing it was like a play on words of he kind of died and he
He
came
died. He
back to
died,
life.
but was brought back.
Yeah. But then I didn't give a second thought when I first saw it. But when that happened, I was like, oh, that's a choice for a title. And I guess it's a play on life and death, but this is death and life. But I don't know. I don't know. I think they could have had another title.
I think they didn't realize that not everybody remembered that he didn't die.
Yeah. Yeah, because every now and then you have to, well, I have to remind myself, like, not everybody is in the pop culture zeitgeist. Some people are just, oh, it's happened to them. Oh, is that person still alive? Oh, they're still here. Nobody knows. So, yeah, it's an unfortunate title. But we were talking about this before we started recording because, guys, I put in my notes like, oh, rearranging the room that he OD'd on is crazy. And I'm like, why did I say that? What happened again? And Aid, what did you say?
I said when I first started watching the documentary, I thought I hit the wrong thing because I was like, "What is going on here? Why is this man in this very dark, like bar, hotel, whatever
Yeah,
it is, showing us this room?" And I was like, "Oh!" And then it came, "Oh, this is where it
yeah.
happened."
Uh-huh. And then making it seem like it's a not a monument, but like a place for like museum or something. It's just odd. Like
It's dark. It's very, very dark.
a man OD'd and nearly lost his life. So not sure why they did
I will
that.
give them that they provided the explanation for that weirdness that we needed later in the documentary. Because once you realize who owns that room, then you're like, oh, this is the yeah, grifter.
It just wasn't a good choice to open with that.
No, it wasn't.
There's no context. You don't know what's happening. In fact, I was like, did I press play on the right thing? Because when you see this man, you're like, what does this man have to do with Lamar Odom? Like, what's happening? Right here. What I'm not surprised about is that Khloe is a part of the documentary. We're gonna talk about this, but if I were her, I would not be in this documentary.
Really?
Yes. So I'm gonna give context. I watch Keeping Up with the Kardashians, and most recently he was on even the Kardashians version on Hulu, and most recently he was on the episode. And when we get to it later on, I'll give more context into why I'm just like, leave this man alone. Like, he just doesn't care. I don't know how else to say it. But for a man who survived 12 strokes and 6 heart attacks and was technically kind of dead or in a coma for 3 days, to survive this and still kind of struggle is a reminder that addiction is a bitch.
Addiction is this is something, and I might need your assistance here. I felt like I watched that whole documentary. They told us that whole story,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't feel like I ever got confirmation that Lamar Odom is in recovery from drug addiction today. Like, I'm like, does he still? Because I
We,
wasn't entirely sure that he does not. He never
yes.
said, "Oh, I've gotten clean since that time. I've turned my
Mm-hmm.
life around." No, I didn't hear any of that. And maybe that's just like what we're just used to hearing, and so we don't hear it, so we assume it doesn't exist. But I think actually it's a pretty decent assumption.
I mean, he has relapsed since then. So, yes, it is a safe assumption. He had a DUI as recently as January.
Yeah.
So, I just don't know how much recovery he's done, and if it even is something. I wonder about it is also like, there's some people who fight this battle over and over, and it's not for lack of trying. They've been to a lot of rehab centers, they do this over and over, and I've always wondered if there are cases that can't be recovered from because he
Like,
has the money. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
because we start with the premise that like anybody can recover from drug addiction if they just try hard enough, if they
Yeah,
go to enough rehabs, if they
yeah.
have enough money. I mean, I don't think at this point though anybody really thinks that. Like, we've watched too many people who have every resource in the world not be able to survive drug addiction.
Okay, something I want to do through the episode is like, just when we get to points where I think they could have done better, I want to point it out. So if there's any point for you where you think they could have done better, just, kind of point it out too and share um what you thought about the direction that they chose to took. And
But,
one of them for me is Phil Jackson. Did you recognize him when he came on screen?
no, but that's, I mean, I recognized, looked at him and was like, okay, important sports person. But
Okay.
I'm always gonna need a little like prompting, a little
Prompting.
fire on to remind me who this person is.
Yeah.
Um, I forgot, but I remembered that this Untold series is like a JV 30 for 30. So while it's interesting because the draw to watching this documentary for me is, of course, both Lamar and Chloe, but
Mhm.
the idea behind the Untold series is sports stories. So that's why we have Phil Jackson, because that's the sports part and the other parts of the documentary that, dive into the sports of it all.
I don't have a problem with him being on there. I just feel like he wasn't utilized as well as he should. Like basically the way they use him, we could have done without him. It's like they had him for 5 seconds and he was showing breathing techniques, what he did for that, and then he mentioned a little about Lamar, and then that was it. Like we really could have done without that, I think, for me, because Phil Jackson is like synonymous almost like with the Lakers. So I just thought if he had mentioned things about, oh, he missed practice or he was doing that, and in more depth than they used it,
Hmm.
I think they could have done better with that. If not, just don't worry about it. That was my issue.
And
Um,
that would have brought more of the sports part into the sports documentary because,
yeah.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
uh, I,
Mm-hmm.
I I feel like we may have gotten the story through dribs and drabs that he probably did show up to practice until he didn't. um,
We kind of did. And I mean, listen, I'm not even shitting on the doc because what I think they did well was also laying the foundation of how Lamar came to the Lakers. They did a good job of laying, like, when he was in high school, how he was like, what was he, 6'9" or
he,
7,
he
whatever
shot
he
up to
was.
yeah.
Yeah. And he it was a trade, when Shaq was sent to Miami, because it sounds like, okay, that's a lot of information, but I think like that added to the story because we really have to understand him coming to Los Angeles, understanding like and leading up to him meeting Chloe, and the whole situation with that, and him just really enjoying being famous because Los Angeles is where they all work to be or want to be in, you know.
But it's funny that they all want to be on the Lakers. They don't want to be on the Clippers.
Clipper,
Or
yeah.
I'm like, are the Clippers still in LA? I don't even know.
Yeah,
Um,
they are. And that's the
okay.
funny part because when he was drafted, which is crazy that he was drafted in 1999, again, 99 still feels like 10 years ago, but no, it is not, beloved. It's like 27 years ago. And he got drafted to the Clippers, and his aunt tells us that he was like anywhere but the Clippers, and that's exactly, where he ended up. But going back to his beginnings, we meet his high school sweetheart, Liza Morales, who again, surprised that they're doing this doc for him. Like he must really be charming, I guess. I don't
I'm
know.
hoping there's a check involved. The first thought when I saw Liza is she sure does look like Chloe, or at least Chloe's original face. But I was actually shocked. I don't know if you noticed that.
No, I mean, I've seen it wasn't something that stood out to me, but I've also seen like different docs of them, and I just maybe it's like, I'm used to seeing her face, but no, it wasn't a thought while I was watching this documentary. But I've never fact checked this, but I read somewhere that you can't pay people to be talking heads on a documentary because then it skews. Like basically, you can pay someone to say what you want them to say.
But there's like ways around it. It's the same way they're like, oh, we can't pay for an interview, but you can pay for the rights to pictures. And and then you use the pictures in the documentary and then you didn't pay for the interview. You paid for picture rights. There's ways around it. I think I've heard that too, but I've also heard the ways journalists get around it. And some of these Netflix documentaries, I don't know if there's a lot of journalism involved.
um, in the part where Liza is telling us how they were high school sweethearts, and then before he went away to college, she got pregnant. And no, no, no. For his name, Lamar Odom, his aunt is the person that's giving commentary from his family's side. And I just wanted to point out that his mom wanted to name him Lamont, and his aunt, and I quote, says, "You can't name him Lamont. That's a sissy name." And I'm like, "What? What? You have to name him Lamar." So that's how we have Lamar Odom. I don't even know what that means, but Lamont, really? Okay. If you're out there, your name Lamont. It is not a sissy name, okay?
That is an old school black man of a certain age name, though.
Yes. So we are informed, or we're told that his dad was, and by looks of it is, still an addict. And, lays credence. We've seen scientific facts that, addiction can be genetic and hereditary. So unfortunate. And he lost his mom to cancer. He lost his mom when he was 10 years old. She was diagnosed in January, and by July, she had died. And it's just
S-
important because it's the first of many deaths that he's going to come across in his life.
So at this point, I had counted 3 adverse childhood experiences.
Yes.
I was like his parents splitting up, his dad being an addict, and his mom dying at 10. I was like, that's 3 before you're 10 years
Yes.
old.
Yes.
It's just a lot for the a young person to have to deal with.
It is a lot. I will say that why I said this documentary was like the surface. I actually read his book. He has like a book. It came out in like 2019, I believe. And they go into depth about all his loss. He lost a cousin, he lost people, gun violence, his best friend. There's a lot of loss in there that you do have to, feel for him. Like it just nonstop. So for someone who practically, when people say they're waiting for the other shoe to drop, he's literally waiting and it's actually dropping. Because sometimes you're like, oh, look on the good side. But what part of it is a self fulfilling prophecy and what part of it is just life, at that point?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So he goes to Rhode Island for college. And I love how Liza, his children's mom, says, oh, he came down in one of those visits and boom, I ended up pregnant with Destiny. I'm like, it's not a boom. Like things happened
Uh,
with how you got pregnant. And after he got drafted, he did ask Liza to come to LA with him or to California with him. And, at this point, I feel like she's given up a lot of things because she got pregnant while she was still in high school, I believe. And I can't remember if she went to college, but she did have the baby. And with him not being around, practically she's a single mom. And then he's like, oh, I get drafted. I don't want to be alone. You should come along. And she's like, oh, we're a family. I don't want to put us apart. And then she leaves everyone she knows behind in New York and goes to join him. And we know that it's the beginning of a lot of things that would eventually be her life.
it's just babies having babies. Like
Yeah.
it's painful. To me, it's painful to hear that a 19 and a what was you said she was in high school, so what, 17, 18?
Yeah,
Like
because
these
they were really
children
young.
having children, and it's like, dude, you're about to go get drafted and be an NBA player. Like you have a lot of life left to live to enter into fatherhood, if that's what you want to call what he did.
Yeah.
I, I, yeah, this is the beginning of me not being very impressed with Lamar. I'm like, okay, so yeah, all right, go ahead.
And then he gets drafted, goes to Miami, and gets pregnant again. So that was the third baby that they had together. And then make this number 4 aid because in 2006, he goes for a funeral for his aunt that died. So a lot of loss for
A
that.
lot of, yeah.
And then the major one that we do know is like, their third baby. When they had the baby, she said she woke up. It was a regular day. I was like, oh, Jaden is still sleeping. And mom's like, is he okay? She's like, yeah, he's fine. She turns him over, and the baby is blue. And we find out that the baby had died from sudden infant death syndrome, SIDS. And how do you even explain that? What do you say to that?
It's just devastating. It's sad. It's there's really no words for it.
Yeah. It isn't. And, when he tells us that what he was doing at the time of the baby's death was he was out partying. I don't know if he meant partying or partying like, when people are doing drugs, that's what they say that we're partying. I couldn't tell um
Oh, not
which
funny, but it's
one
true.
I do I couldn't tell which one it was, but I'm like, yeah.
Either way, you
This
are not at home with your girlfriend and 3 kids, and there's no correlation. Like
yeah.
SIDS is SIDS. It's gonna happen whether you're out partying or you're at home. But how do you have 3 kids and you're out? I don't. This is like because you're not an adult. Babies having babies.
I have watched Lamar in documentaries about this. He was on Celebrity Big Brother, watched that, watched him on the show, read his book, and I can't tell how much of it is him detaching from reality or if it's in his nature to just not emote, because
Yes.
he says this again is like, I just had to move on. Like, I didn't cry. What am I going to do? I'm going to have to move on. And like Aid has mentioned, we've counted how many losses. Before he was 10, there was like four that we know of. We don't even know of the other ones that may have existed. And it's like, is that what makes him keep moving? But I feel like he's in an era of retrospect. And even looking back, he still feels like he has no emotions about it.
He's in an era of retrospect, but it's not a very deep retrospect. I think that's what the documentary showed us.
Yeah,
It was
yeah,
honest. I'm going to give
yeah,
him points that he was honest, but not very deep.
yeah. Yeah, it wasn't deep at all. So that's what I'm saying is like, is it a wall? Is it like, I can't go there because if I go there, I'm going to lose it. So I just have to be stoic and just move on with my life. So, you
I
know,
I was particularly, I don't want to say disturbed, but it's like one of the biggest misconceptions that I think people have out there. This like, because he said something about he went back to LA. She didn't want to go back to LA.
yes.
So, and I'm like, I'm kind of with her. I bet you he wasn't that helpful. She
Yeah,
lost her
of
child.
course.
She wants to stay with her support system. I can't judge her for that.
Of course.
But he said something about like he went back to LA because he had to, because that is his job. That's how he supports them.
Hmm.
And he said something about it makes me a stronger individual. And then I like, oh, like one of the biggest misconceptions out there is that if bad things keep on happening to you, it makes you stronger. And that's what the story that everybody has to tell themselves to make it through the day, but it just doesn't make it true.
Yeah,
Every bad thing that happens to you weakens you and it makes you less likely to survive mentally intact the next bad thing. Like humans
yeah,
only have a capacity for so much. But when bad things keep on happening, humans will keep on telling themselves it's making me stronger. Even his aunt said it at one point too. And I was just like,
yeah.
no, no, all of these things did not make Lamar Odom stronger.
Tell that to Kelly Clarkson. That doesn't. She made an anthem about it, you know. But yeah, it's what Aid said is true. Forgot to mention, and thanks for bringing that up, is that, she wanted to stay. I mean, you can tell that Lamar is the kind of person that has never changed a diaper in his life.
Hmm.
So I don't know that he would be even helpful in a death. Like, I really wanted to know the real story behind that, really hoping that it wasn't a case of him like blaming her, like, oh, you were supposed to watch the kids, and what were you doing, and then and that happened, how did you not notice that he wasn't crying? Because that's usually the mo of men like that. Like, it's like you're not doing what you're supposed to do, but then it's like, you're the woman, you should have noticed. But also, I don't think Amar has any emotions to care that much. Is that harsh?
I can see a world where everything you said happened, but because they didn't speak on it, we don't know.
Yeah.
Like it's even actually we got almost no insight into their actual relationship.
Yeah.
They described events, not relations between even each other.
Mm-hmm. It was very factual. This is the timeline. This is what happened. Not like, but I felt that way and this happened, which is why I said I don't know why she's here. After everything that this man has put her through, I'm not doing you a favor. No. But this is why he keeps doing this. What your ex-wife, we're gonna get to Chloe's part, but you would not catch me sitting on that chair. I'm not telling you my story. Nope. Will not do it.
I mean, look, Khloe telling Chloe's story. At the end of this thing, I'm sorry. I was impressed with Khloe. I admired Khloe. I don't necessarily agree with her choices, but Khloe comes out looking pretty good here. So
Yeah.
that's why I kind of understand what. And you know what? Khloe comes out looking good, and everything everybody else said also affirms that Khloe did good. So yeah, there was no loss to her for coming on here to make herself look good.
We'll get there, but I mean, they've gone through this before, and he was not appreciative. So that part has always been clear that what she did was so selfless, and what she did was good. But when we get to Chloe's part, I'll lay my side of why I feel that way. Let's take a quick break, and I'll be right back. Okay, we're back. So then, Meta World Peace, aka Runner Test, sits on the chair, and I'm like, what is he doing here? I mean, we
These
got
two,
Phil Jackson, and nothing happened, and I'm like, what? And then he starts telling the story, and I'm like, okay, I get it why he was here.
To cheer us up. Honestly, there was a literal elevation in mood when Run Our Test started part of the story starts.
But yes, he tells us the story, which honestly I don't even think I knew this part, was that he got, signed to the Lakers, and again, that's where every player wanted to be. He wanted to have a welcome to LA party, and he was like, "Did you find the flyer?" And they sure did find the flyer, and we saw the Microsoft Word
The
clip art.
early 2000s were a hell of a time for graphic design, okay?
It sure was. And he was like, there's Khloe. And I'm like, huh? What's going on? He was like, I don't even know how we got her. Like, we wanted a co host, and Khloe was nice enough to accept, and it was $5,000. I'm like, she wasn't nice enough. It was a job. You were paying her to come on here. But I appreciate that he was like, I'm sorry, Khloe. I'm sure you get way more now. but
See what I mean?
but but that was funny because honestly when I heard 5K I was like, what? But I was also like, that was many many years ago. So they meet at this party. They allegedly didn't know each other. I believe that she didn't know who he was. It's hard to believe that he didn't know who she was. The Kardashians were everywhere, everywhere. And to your
You
point
say
earlier,
that, but like, what season of Keeping Up with the Kardashians did this happen? Season three?
I don't think so, because at this time, this was when they had already had like so many spin-offs, and they didn't get spin-offs until a little bit deep into
Okay.
that. So because we'd already had Chloe and whatever take Miami, take New York or whatever, and then they came in. But
I
it's
gotta tell
fine.
you, people, back in the day, like, I recall watching the first episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians live, season one, episode one. And I stuck with it for a while. Like, I remember this storyline. I remember I would watch, go to Miami. I watched all of that. I don't remember when I stopped watching the Kardashians. I definitely do not watch this Hulu nonsense, but carry
Mhm.
on.
So, to your point earlier, Lamar was serious and said, I mean, he was honest, and he was like, I was just trying to fuck her. Like, I mean, I don't looking for a relationship or anything. But again, what the documentary does is we don't understand how we went from you were just trying to fuck her to getting married to her in 30 days, because he actually proposed. Like, I don't know why you couldn't just have dated her if you were looking for the clout, but he was like, he was going to marry her. Now, in the book or just along the internet, I can't remember. I don't know if it's that he was dating Taraji P. Henson. I can't remember
Oh,
the timeline, if it was during that time and it was like a shock, like, wait, what? You're getting married to Chloe, or what happened? And you know, there's that. So there's a lot of in betweens. I don't know how we went from that. And I think I wanted more of his view here. I just wanted more in depth, like, what changed for you? You just lost your baby. Because I think in another interview I watched, no, she was on a reality show, actually, Liza. I think that's what it was, Ex Wives Club or Ex something. And they were never married, but something to that effect, where she just talked about how it was just so surprising. And it's like after the baby, their relationship just kind of fell apart. And the next thing I'm seeing is like, oh, you're getting married. Like, I'm here mourning our kid, and you're out here just, living your best life from what it looks like from outside. So texting Liza to tell her that you're getting married, that's crazy work. That is
but
crazy work.
this is what I mean by Lamar ain't shit. Um, First
Yeah.
off, there was a part of me that was just like, when I watched it, I remember thinking, and I still actually to this day believe, theirs was a very cute little love story. And
Mhm.
it felt very genuine, and I do believe it was genuine. I mean, I think Lamar had other considerations in mind,
Yeah.
especially with the whole why do we need to get married in 30 days?
Yeah.
But I do think it was one of those like we met and instantly we're like, love it. I wanted to fuck
Hmm.
her, and then like she held out a while and love at first sight type thing.
Hmm.
But there's this like lovely turn of Nigerian English where you don't say someone had a baby with someone, you say she had a baby for him. I'm like, this woman had three babies for him and he never married her, and he married
Hmm.
Chloe in 30 days. Like, the disrespect. That's the way I saw it.
But you couldn't call. You texted her on top. No, it is. It is disrespectful. But it's just you couldn't even call to give her the heads up. But you just texted her. But none of the kids went to the wedding. And this was a moment where I looked closely and I was like, oh, I'm just noticing that Chloe had her nose job because it's very obvious here. I'm always very, as a sidebar, surprised when people have so much money and they still can't get like a really top notch doctor to get it completely right. Because I don't think the nose job was done very well, but maybe it hadn't settled. I don't know, but
When
yeah,
I saw Chloe the first time she appeared, I have a note here. What happened to Chloe's face?
yeah,
I didn't circle in on the nose job. I just thought her whole face, Chloe was beautiful.
yeah.
Chloe did not need to do any of this nonsense. I don't get it.
Yeah, the face has been a gradual thing. Like on the Hulu version, it's like HD times 4,000. So, and there's a lot of makeup involved. So I've been seeing that, but all she talks about is she wants a boob job. She's never talked about the nose job, but this was yeah, very obvious. And it's the era. She's trying to say they're all obsessed with staying young and staying skinny and staying pretty. So that's what happened to her face. So they get married, they have a Hollywood wedding. It's a Hollywood wedding because Meta Peace is telling us, sorry, Meta World Peace is telling us, like, I'm one of the closest people to Lamar, and I was in the back of the wedding, okay? Like, I wasn't even at the front table. His aunt is like, none of us was invited to that wedding. They're just like, oh, wait, besides Pumpkin, Pumpkin was there.
Pumpkin is the most random interview in the whole documentary. And I feel like the only reason he made it is because he was the one friend pre
That-
Lakers to make it to the wedding. Oh, you guys, I remember watching that wedding on Keeping Up with the Kardashians. Wasn't there a whole thing where then known as Bruce was
yeah.
like gonna walk her down the aisle, or he wasn't gonna walk her down the aisle, or she hadn't asked him? What was the deal there? Do you remember?
I can't remember. It was so long ago. But I know Chloe was the one that had a really good relationship with Bruce, though.
I think
So
Bruce
I
ended up
can't
walking her
imagine.
down the aisle.
Yeah, there was no way. So yeah, I don't recall all of that. But yeah. Um Pumpkin says that Lamar told him that he was doing all this to better his lifestyle. And I just want to remind people, because I get into this with people where people think everybody thinks like them and think that, Kardashian is trash and all that. Well, within your rights to have your view. But I always tell people that people want Kardashian clout. It doesn't matter who it is. Celebs want to always be in the orbit of the Kardashians. Kris Jenner has told us, like, there's a time when any of her daughters are single, the amount of publicists that send a list of people reaching out, like, oh, they want to date like their daughters because they just want to be in that orbit. Like everyone having their panties in a bunch that Timothy Chalamet wants to date Kylie Jenner. And I'm just like, you guys, you have no idea. Like everyone just wants to be in their orbit, regardless of what most people online say.
You guys, uh, Harry and Meghan went to Chris's birthday party. Lest we
So
forget, like, yes, everybody wants to be in that Kardashian orbit. They want the clout, they want the association. The idea that they're like, and I think the part that did surprise me is that they had that clout back then. That
oh yeah,
when they started showing all the people who were at the wedding and how Lamar recognized, like, I want to be. It's not
yeah,
just about the Kardashians; it's about who the Kardashians are connected to.
yeah.
It was kind of amazing. And the fact that even within his own world, which is the NBA, he
Mhm.
elevated himself by marrying a Kardashian.
Yeah, but also I don't know if Harry and Meghan is a good example. Most people will argue with you that they're cloud chasers. A lot of people consider Meghan to be a cloud chaser, so I don't know if that's a good
Uh,
example.
no, no, I get that. No, that's my point. They are clout chasers, and they are, they have options as far as where they can chase their clout. Okay, but in their new world of Hollywood, going to Kris Jenner's birthday party is a wonderful networking opportunity for them.
That's true. That is true. They all want to be in there. So yeah, so that was the wedding that they had. And Lamar, in his own words, and I quote, said, "If I'm going to marry you, I want in too." And I'm like, you see why she shouldn't do this show? I can't imagine watching this because the worst is still to come. But this is way after, and you're still saying, like, oh, if I was gonna marry you, hey, I want in too. Why not? It's a business opportunity. What I can't remember that she was 24. That is
Ye-
young.
Yeah, I forgot that too.
Is young. It really feels like she was much older, but 24 is very, very, young. Um, in the book, and I guess something they don't talk about, I don't know if you ever watched like their spinoff. He had like a best friend on the show who has
Yes.
long since passed because I think he overdosed. But in the book, I think Lamar was saying how like that wasn't really his best friend. The network kind of assigns like his actual best friend couldn't be on the show, is not a good fit. They wanted a certain like prototype or something, and that was the person that was the best friend on the show. Because I think somewhere in this documentary, he said something about our reality show was completely different and it was so fake or something like that. So I don't know, just a whole bunch of things.
I did
Um,
watch Chloe and Lamar because the part where they showed the clip of them breaking the swing, I was like, I remember seeing that.
okay, so we moved to when the Lakers won the championship and they had the parade, and his kids were so excited, they wanted to go, and he wouldn't come out the room. Apparently, he's been partying, and he just didn't want the kids to see him that way, and he wasn't going to go to the parade. They told the kids that like he just wasn't going to make it. He wasn't feeling well. And then I can't remember who told him like he better get his butt out there and go to the parade, that he can't miss it. And his kids were so devastated because they saw him on TV. I'm like, immediately, why are we not cutting to Lamar for his version of the story? They do
His
later, but at that time, we don't know.
Yeah, and he didn't have a version of the story.
No.
Like, even in that moment, didn't he say something to the effect of like, people, a lot of stuff happens and you have regrets when you are in, or I don't even know if he called
When
himself an addict though, or
yeah.
when you are heavily using drugs or some sort of phrase like that, I think is what he
Yeah.
said.
Yeah, I think he said he couldn't even remember because that's another thing. There's some things he says, and even on the show on the Kardashians, is like, "Oh, I don't remember," and I'm like, "Do you, or is it shame, or you know, I don't know." So Chloe said something that I thought was telling. She was like,
Mhm.
"Oh, in the beginning, it was recreational and responsibly done." I'm like, Chloe,
I know what
ma'am.
she meant though. He was still going to practice. She meant he was still going to practice. He was going to games and he was doing his job. Ergo, if he wanted to party afterwards, what it was looks fine to me.
I did. It's not that I didn't understand. I'm just like I was under the impression from everything else or whatever was that she didn't know that he did drugs at all.
Uh,
So when you say he was recreational and responsibly done, you would always know that there's a possibility that it will get worse.
if you are 25 years old, 24 years old, no, you don't actually.
Okay.
If you are not familiar, I think there's a part of me who, I've never done anything. I've never tried weed. I've never if you haven't lived it, you don't know. And if you haven't been exposed to enough stories, you don't know. Like, why would you know?
I think it's just baseline for me. Like, there's a reason why things are called gateway drugs. And it's like, if you start, there's just that possibility. Like, I don't know what every person that became an addict started out small and it led to something. It's a possibility that it would. If you're an athlete, where your whole thing about being an athlete is like you're disciplined, you want your engine to be in tip top shape, but you're doing drugs, to me, that's already like a telltale sign that, okay, something is a little off.
I, I'm with you. Know, I find something I found like funny about the documentary when they talk about the trade. For some reason, I have read like multiple books about the Lakers, watched multiple documentaries, and Kobe was such an asshole to Shaq, and it all came down to the fact that Shaq would come back from the offseason and be out of shape, and he
Yeah.
would just need some time to get himself back into shape. And Kobe was absolutely disgusted that this man would show up to training camp or whatever, like not in good basketball shape.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that Kobe liked Lamar so much was such an indicator to me that no matter what drugs Lamar was doing, up until he wasn't, Lamar showed up to practice in great shape, did his job to the level that Kobe liked him. Do you know how many people Kobe shit talks? And in this documentary, all we see is Kobe love Lamar. Kobe, like I was, that was amazing to me.
Yeah. Yeah, they did have a special relationship. Oh, something that wasn't shown that from the book, the throes of Lamar's drug addiction. He used to get drug tested. In case anyone is wondering, like, oh, don't they drug test athletes? Which they do. But his addiction was so deep, and for people who have money or are famous or wealthy, there's always enablers. Like when people talking about the R. Kellys or the um Epstein the Epsteins, there are people that are enabling them. These people are not booking flights. These people are not booking. There's always enablers. So Lamar had his enablers, and he, at some point in the depths of it, got someone to buy him a, how shall I say it? A rubber black penis, and they put their own pee in there because when they're watching, they had to watch him in the bathroom actually peeing. So they got something. So he pretended to pee, but he was just pushing on it so that the pee would come out and they would think it was his, and that's how he passed the drug test.
You know, another thing that we kind of glossed over because the documentary just kind of mentioned it. When Phil Jackson was talking about him coming to the Lakers, he mentioned we knew he had some issues. And they showed a thing where like he failed a drug test before he came to the Lakers.
Yes.
But that I'm telling you, these sports documentaries always, if you can play, they will look past anything. A little drugs, domestic violence, they will look past anything if you can play.
Yeah, that's true. He violated a drug policy, but I don't know what it was that he failed or what drug exactly. Because I'm thinking like maybe if it's weed, they're like, it's just weed, stuff. But if it's like cocaine, crack, heroin, I would think that would be different. So I don't know
Oh,
because the
and
documentary didn't tell us.
another thing that I think is indicative of you can say what you want about the Kardashians, but when LJ was like, the thing about the years he was married to Khloe is that I knew I was going to get a good gift from Chris and Khloe. Say what you will, but like, I feel like if you marry into the Kardashians, they are good to you. If you're considered family, I feel like they are very, very good to you. Like, there is I don't want to say a niceness.
No.
I don't know what to call it, but if once you're in, the way Chris would take care of Mason, I think she was good to Kanye too. I, she's
So
mercenary, but
okay, so I don't know how to say it. Yes, I'm not disagreeing. Yes, they're usually nice, but I think like it's to their detriment, and I don't necessarily think it's a good trait because was it the previous season, 2 seasons ago, where Kim was saying like, "Oh, once we date someone, we never let them go." And I'm like, okay, that's cute, but it's
it's
not
just
cute. That's why Tristan is here. That's why Kanye is still coming in and out. That's why we do that. And then recently, when they sold their house, they were talking about how Chris is not maternal. Like Kendall was just talking about how their mom just didn't do anything because she couldn't be bothered. For someone who has so many children, so technically, logistically, yes, good at all of that. But in the main things, Chloe is the one who raised the younger kids. That's why they call her mom. So I don't know. I get what you're saying. It is nice outside looking in, buying something. Just tell your assistant to buy a gift. It's not that hard. So, but yes, that was pretty funny when he said that, that was, what he enjoyed during the time that they were married. I mean, he's a kid. That's what was important to him at that time. So, anyways, my where we started from all this was just like I just felt was just when she said recreational and responsibly done. For me, I either forgot or I didn't know. I was like, oh, she knew that it was a thing, and which I get. Listen, in LA, when people say, "Hey, would you like a drink?" It's as easy as, "Hey, would you like some?" And they're holding out cocaine to you, like just a little bump to do that. So I just didn't know that she knew from jump. Let's take a quick break, and we'll come back to see when all the trouble started. Okay, and we're back. So Chloe says that 2 years in is when he started to disappear. Do you think that it really was 2 years for someone who was an addict? Like, I mean, well, that's true. Addicts are good at hiding stuff. Do you think like it took up to 2 years or it was less than that?
I think it's a graduation.
Okay.
I think there's the part where you called and you're like, you know what, I'm gonna be out all night. I'll be home like tomorrow around noon. And you show up at like 5. Okay,
Hmm.
you didn't technically disappear. But as you lose control, then you don't call, you don't say nothing, and you come home 2 days later, or you don't come home and I'm looking all over for you. So
Yeah.
I think 2 years is probably when things get like worse, but basically it ramps up. It's not a switch, it's a
Okay.
ramp. It's like
Yeah.
incident one, the gaps between the incidents shorten, and then suddenly you're like, wait, I think there's a problem.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. She did say I suspected, but I wasn't sure that he was cheating on me. This girl was looking for him in hotels, in alleys. She was cleaning up after him and partying with someone else. And this lady saying, like, yeah, he's doing too much, and calling her to say, hey, hi, I've been fucking your husband and I didn't know if I should call you. I'm like, what?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm like, it's this is. I will say this documentary is not great for Chloe's dignity.
Oh, she's way past that. Like we've seen enough on so many things. So
But Chloe, like at one point, I was like Bob the Builder. She's like, "Oh, I'll fix you."
but that okay, now is a good time for me to share what I was saying because she does admit like I was an enabler. She does say also I was 24 and I was keeping all these secrets. And this is where I've had this conversation with another friend of mine when we are watching this, when we watched yet again Chloe being made a fool of on TV. I don't know how much you know about, the whole Tristan thing, but
Just that
she
he openly cheats on her, she took him back. Now,
okay.
like, she decided to have a second baby with him, even though they broke up. Is that
Okay. Kind of like, but there's like a caveat to that. So they have two children, right? The first child, while she was going into labor, or she went into labor early when she found out that he was cheating on her.
I
She
remember
let
that.
him, yeah,
Hmm.
she let him come into the delivery room and was like, I'm not going to ruin that experience. Then she wanted to have a second child and she kind of took him back. She didn't really want to. He knew that he was having another child with someone else, did not tell her, but kind of sped up the process and said, hey, let's just have another one by surrogate. And then didn't tell her that, knowing that he had one on the way. And she felt tricked, and then that's how she had the second child because she thought that was happening. And then they did the implantation like God knows when. And then that's when he told her that he was having a child. Isn't that diabolical?
That I mean,
That's crazy to the point where she said, like, I didn't really bond with my son Tatum until a little while because of all the circumstance. So that's two children, two experiences that he has ruined for her. But my point is we've watched Chloe get cheated on all through the years, all Kardashians, every boyfriend, even when she was with, I don't know if it was fake, Omarion, when she was with, was it Ben Wallace? There was a basketball player that
there
came
was the
way back in the day.
wait, wasn't she with James Harden for a bit?
Yeah. But I don't know if we don't know what happened. We never saw him on the show. She was with French Montana. She was with, but either way, when you said Bob the Builder, and this is where I blame Chris because I don't know what Chris taught them or told them, but it's basically these men feel like I can do whatever. It doesn't matter. You're not going to kick me out. So why not? Who doesn't want to eat their cake and have it? Like, even after all of this happened, when Tristan's mom died, and he didn't know what to do, not he didn't know what to do, he said he needed a place to stay, his place was being remodeled, he came to stay in Chloe's house with his brother who is special needs. I want to say he has cerebral palsy, I'm not sure, but then Chloe's the one taking care of him even after all of this. And then it's under the umbrella of niceness, which is cool, which is nice, but I think it's to her detriment. How are you ever going to find someone or live your own life if all you're doing is taking care of people? And to me, there's a certain kind of people pleasing that veers towards a symptom of low self esteem. So that's my issue with all of this and why I don't think she owes Lamar anything. Last season, he came over. She was so mad at him that he was all the shit that he put her through, not appreciative. He says he didn't remember. And all her sister Kendall told him was like, you were so mean to him. It's not fair after everything. So I'm just like, she's been through so much. She doesn't owe him anything. I will not participate, like, completely just keep him out your life. Like, that's my issue with it. So,
You're right. I mean, the kindness is to her own detriment. And you know me, I hate a person who says they're a people pleaser. Um, much like we're like, you can have all this money and still not be able to find like the help you need to kick drug addiction. You can have all this money and still not be able to find the therapist that will help you start to put yourself first.
well, she just started doing therapy. It's crazy to think that she's never done therapy this whole time, but Courtney was like, go see someone, please. So, but then one of her therapists, I think she quit because I think the therapist couldn't help her. I was like, wow. But anyways, sports is ruthless because they have no loyalty. But Lamar finds out that he's being traded to Dallas Mavericks on the radio in 2011. And just a little anecdote is I went to a game. I still lived in Dallas at the time when Lamar was on there. And I remember telling my friend, like, is Lamar okay? He looks so paranoid. So he was always on the court, always looking around like someone was coming for him. At the time, of course, I had no idea about the drug use. I had nothing. But looking back, it made sense. But at the time, I had no idea that he was an addict and stuff. So she says that he overdosed multiple times. She even pumped his stomach, and I'm like, this is too much.
Too
This is too
much.
much. And where was her mom to tell her, you don't have to go through this. You are young. Like, let someone take care of him. Because I'm sure her mom was like, yo, you have to stay. You have to take care of him. But I'm like, their mom left their dad because she met Bruce and wanted to be with him. So I don't know. I don't know what steps were skipped, but this was too much for Khloe, you know. So they get a professional to do an intervention, and the interventionist says, tell him that you're going to file for divorce if you don't stop. And that backfired because Lamar's like, cool, where do I sign?
I also am just like, where do you find these so-called professionals?
Instagram. I'm just kidding. I don't
Like,
know, but
what kind of professional would? I feel like someone who knows what they're doing would not have either. Look, either Chloe is massaging the truth,
yeah,
and there was a part of her that did want a divorce because I don't think it's crazy to want a divorce from this situation.
yeah.
Or the interventionist was not qualified for the job they signed up to do. It's
Now,
either one.
how do you put such heavy stakes on something as sensitive as this? And if some, I'm not even a professional, but I know that addiction is so strong that for the most part, addicts choose their addiction over people. So why did this person think that someone who's already treating Chloe this way is going to pick her over the drugs? That's my question.
And it's not supposed to be a choice presented to them. That's not
Yeah,
that's not part of, I mean, not that
it's an
I'm
ultimatum.
expert, but I somehow I don't think in the how to treat an addict playbook does it say ultimatums have been particularly effective.
It doesn't even work for non-addicts. So I don't know why why they would try that with an addict. So at this point, something I noticed, because his kids are talking heads on this documentary, is that Lamar does not talk a lot about his kids. I don't know if you
Yeah, because he's a
peeped
terrible
that,
father. Um,
but they
like,
love him. I don't know.
oh, there's plenty of terrible fathers out there whose kids still love him. You know what? I'm willing to bet that Lamar paid his child support on time.
Oh, interesting. I'm willing to bet that Chloe paid it
Or
with
someone,
her
or
own money.
Chloe paid the child support because, yeah, I hope that is the case because I don't think they got anything else out of him. It's
Yeah.
such a bad father. Like, yeah, but did the kids say that they found out like they were seeing his incidences and all this stuff on TMZ too?
It wasn't until the big one, which we're about to talk about,
Yeah.
but I don't know about the little ones. But yes, um, he just seems so detached from them that I truly wonder what their relationship is. Like, they didn't even speak about it in the present tense, so I don't know. I don't know what their relationship is. But let's talk about the big um death, the death of Lamar Odom, which was October 13, 2015. Lamar decides that after the signing the papers that he's just gonna go to Vegas. And he goes to the Bunny Ranch, or the Love Ranch, where they started calling it that. Which, if you guys don't know, they actually, it was a reality show about it called Cat House. It was a reality show on HBO. It was like a HBO After Dark type situation,
Was
where
this
this,
after the Lamar incident or before?
oh, before, way before.
Okay.
Yeah, it was there with Dennis Hoff. I think Dennis Hoff is dead, but I do not recall. But I think that he is not. Yes, he is dead. He is not alive anymore. But yes, he used to come on way back then, back in the days and stuff. It's basically like a bunch of escorts, and then if you watch 90 Day, I'm sorry, Love After Lockup, I think one of the girls was escorts, and it was in Vegas. I actually don't know if it was the same one where they come in, they ring the bell, all the girls line up, and then they pick someone, and then they just follow them to the room, and you watch them see what they paid for and do the activities that they paid for on HBO. Um, this is where TMZ is foul. The incident happens, the weird guy that we see in the beginning suddenly comes back. He lays the foundation for us. He tells us the building is not here anymore. The door was here. The girl came in, and then she calls and was like, something's happening. And Lamar is like frothing at the mouth. And then we realized that he took something called, what was it? Reload or something? It was basically to enhance performance, sexual performance. And he looked on the back and it says, "Do not take more than one for 24 hours." And he asked the girl, "How many did you take?" And she said 12. And that was just the appetizer because he'd also been partying for a while. So he calls the ambulance. They come in there, and why I said TMZ is foul is like, yes, you are breaking news, but these people are someone's loved ones, and finding out on TMZ because that's how Liza found out. That's not cool at all. Not cool.
I Something that was a bit of a revelation to me,
Hmm.
like maybe I just forget, but in the beginning when they sort of show like how the paparazzi would follow, and they showed it too at the end too, but how much they say things to get a reaction out of you,
Hmm.
like, and the terrible, terrible things they say.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
I was just reading something today where someone said they were involved in some sort of scandal. They didn't do anything wrong, but TMZ sent someone to their kid's school to, because apparently, TMZ was outside of Andy's kid's school today.
They were. They were. Just to ask about the inconsequential West and Amanda. Like, it's not that serious. Okay, guys?
I've never been
Not
so
that
grateful to have never watched that show. Um,
serious. So,
but all this to say, and then so this person was like, no legal action could be taken against TMZ because they'll deny. It's almost like everybody's a freelancer. No one actually works for TMZ, so they can't even be held responsible for
yeah.
sending someone to someone's child's school.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I don't even know if there are going to be laws or if anything can be done about it, especially in the world we're living today. There are no rules. Everyone's just winging it and doing whatever they can, even if it causes harm. But honestly, I said all these things I said about Chloe, but let's be grateful that she is that way because I truly, truly believe that that is what saved his life.
And still legally being married to Khloe.
Still being legally married to Chloe and whatever savior complex they all have, that is literally what saved him. Because what happens is that his dad suddenly comes out of the woodwork and, as Chloe says, thinks that he's going to be his beneficiary because he's just like, my son's going to die and I'm going to get something. And then Chloe comes in, says, no, I'm, his next of kin legally. What do you need? And all he needed was a pair of Nikes, $100 and a hotel for the night. That is what his son was worth to him. Isn't that sad?
It's so sad. And then you're like, well, how did your son end up where he is? You, sir, might have something to do with it. How do you end up?
Yeah.
The way you are acting in this situation is very revelatory about the kind of parenting that this man had.
Another angle that I feel like they could have talked about is just like, how does he feel knowing that his dad was an addict? He knows what that felt having a parent that was an addict. Like, does he, like, whether irrationally feel like he blames him for passing it down to him? What is their relationship like? How does he feel knowing about this? But we get nothing of this at all.
See, this is this is my guess about why I think Lamar pays child support. Because I think his response to that would probably be something to the effect of like, "Oh, but like I was financially provided for my kids, unlike my dad." But look at me, I'm doing what you did, creating whole scenarios. But continue on.
This whole thing becomes a circus because everyone is just talking about it. I feel like I remember that time when Lamar, it was announced what happened to Lamar. I'm not gonna lie, I truly did not think he was gonna make it. I thought that he was gonna die because I'm like, the way they talked about it, I just,
Hmm.
how would anybody survive this? Like, it's not even possible. And then the owner of the Love Ranch, Bunny Ranch, Dennis Hoff, he's also a fame whore. He just is milking it to the last. And I think what shook me is like, not the ladies from the Bunny Ranch Love sending get well messages. I just, oh my God. Just like, hi, this is Melody from the Love Ranch, wishing you. I'm like, what?
Matt Lauer willing to pimp out this book.
Just to get the interview. That's crazy.
Oh,
That's crazy. So either way, Lamar is in the hospital. Chloe is just like, holding court and saying like, at some point she walked in and some of the people coming to visit were like drug dealers. I've always wondered about this. I don't think that hospitals have the best security. You literally could just walk in. Like if you know what room you're going for, just walk in like you know where you're going and you belong, and you could just go into anybody's room, and you could just
Except for the
go.
maternity and baby ward. That is a different situation. But
Yeah,
I will agree with you that yes, the rest of the hospital, basically yes.
yeah. So that's always been fascinating to me. So either way, the drug dealers were there. I'm like, what are you gonna do with a man in a coma? But they were just trying to go through his things, and I'm like,
Because
that is
and I'm just
crazy.
like, Lamar, you didn't pay these people, or were they looking for more? I assume they were looking for money.
None of it made sense to me because I'm like, I don't think he owed them money because the Bunny Ranch, they posted his receipts or something. Wasn't it like 75,000? Yeah. So I don't think one thing I think we can't say about Lamar is that he pays his bills and based on what you said, he pays his child support.
We
So
think, or I
I
think.
don't think so exactly. So that's why I was like, I didn't understand the logic of this. Even if you came to the hospital, you were gonna rifle through his things and then find what? A credit card or I don't know. Even if he owed you money, how are you gonna get your money? I don't know. It didn't make any sense to me. But um he survives. He wakes
Miracle.
up. It's a miracle because I also remember when they said that he woke up and I was like, oh, but he's not, gonna be fully functional. Like he probably wouldn't be able to talk or anything. But he was. I mean, the fact that he ripped out the tubes from his neck, and I was like, oh, he still has the scar to show for it. I can't imagine how painful that was. But he's I should mention that his kids came to visit, and I think Liza, I don't know if Liza felt any type of way. I want to bet. Okay, that's the part that I don't know. I don't know how much closure she'd given herself regarding their relationship, but I don't know what it felt like to know that you've been with him since high school. I have two children with him, and now when it comes to seeing him, his current wife, who just came into the picture 30 days after knowing him, is who's policing if I can come in, if the kids can come in. Like, I don't know.
I, that's one of those ones where I'm like, if she did have feelings, she's very much entitled to them.
Hmm.
But Chloe did everything right.
Yeah.
I'm not faulting Chloe for because she even said like they looked at everybody. They were like, everybody needs to sign an NDA. She was about to get hyphy, and they're like, no, no, not you. But you're like,
Yeah.
you're good. But these
Yeah.
other people, she's
Yeah.
like, you cannot tell me. Sorry, I have watched a lot of sports documentaries. Lamar's like, oh, I have this huge family. Like when his aunt is listing everybody who came to the draft, I'm just like, when you get to a professional sport and you have all these family, you end up
Mhm.
supporting like 10, 15 people. And I'm
Mhm.
like, how many people like Chloe knows who everybody is. She knows
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
who is family and who is a user, hanger on family. There's difference.
Yeah. Survivor's Remorse. If you haven't watched it, guys, go check it out. It depicts. It was produced by LeBron James, so he knows what he's saying. When you hit the peak and you have to basically pay for being famous and successful to your family members. But Chloe did everything besides all that. She actually like cleaned him. He couldn't control his bowels like he said. He was in a diaper. And despite all the things that he'd done, she said, "That's my man. I'm gonna stick beside him." She said, "I take my wedding vows very seriously and I'm not going anywhere." She rented a place. She got him somewhere in the community where she was living. She got him rehab, was doing everything. And Chloe says, once you smell crack, you will always remember what crack smells like. You will never mistake it for anything else. I walk into the house, I smell crack, I go to see what he's doing, and I see that he's smoking crack, and I'm like, get the fuck out of here. And after surviving this, and still doing crack, I I I don't know what to say after that.
I will give Chloe credit that in her description, she did not move him into her own house. She had some sense there. She said, I got him a house away from me
Yeah.
to like no matter what she was doing in the back of her mind, she intended to pursue this divorce. Him walking in and seeing him doing crack, I think just pushed her to accelerate her timeline. She's like, "Oh, you're well enough. Oh, you don't need me anymore. I'm out."
Can I say something that stood out to me was shockingly, we get a reaction to Lamar to this, But his reaction is, man, after going through all that, people were still willing to give me crack. He did not say, I didn't say no. Like, man, I got a second lease on life and I can't do this. Like, you would be like disrespectful after everything Chloe did to help me be better or something. Or for my kids, I want to be alive. Or no, 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 no. Lamar says, I can't believe these people, they don't have my best interests at heart. In fact, they brought crack to me. He's not wrong, but I found that interesting to be the thought.
But this is, I'm telling you, throughout this documentary, I just kept on seeing these signs. I was like, I don't think this man is clean.
Yeah.
Um, there's a whole, I mean, I am no expert, but I believe part of the process of like recovery is taking responsibility for your actions. And the fact that you know, you were so in the depths of your addiction that it didn't matter everything that Chloe had done for you. It didn't matter that you had almost died. That is how
Yeah.
much drugs had a grip on you. But you don't have enough perspective to have that perspective. Instead, you're saying like, I can't believe they would still sell me drugs. Which
Yeah.
is, it's just an interesting thought process.
It is. It really is. And, this was a point where I thought maybe she did this to tell her side of the story. Um, for those that maybe don't watch the show or haven't heard it in any shape or form, like at least people will watch this and maybe hear everything she said. Because, like you said earlier, she did look good, or come out good in this. But I do know that I wonder if she is mad at herself for it because, like I said, when he came on the show, she was also mad that he kept calling her baby like nothing happened. And she's like, don't act like something didn't happen. Because even after all of this, I think she had his valuables and he told her to give it to a friend or something. And the friend stole it, or it was in a storage and they stole it. Like, he just has bad people around him, I guess. And they just always do bad things. And she tracked it down, found it, and then, even gave it to him and things like that. And I'm just like, why do you even still try? Like, he just can't give you the appreciation or anything that you're looking for? So it's
But the
just
idea
best they don't
that
have
like
context.
even from this story, what I get out of it is just like he does not have anybody. And I don't know. I'm kind of a believer that if you don't have anybody, nobody at all, like you own some responsibility for finding yourself in that situation.
Yeah.
Uh, but I think from Chloe's perspective, even the person who I gave your stuff to could not be in your corner enough not to steal it. Like he
Yeah.
doesn't have anybody, and so you feel like you have to at least be one person who is not, you don't even have to be his friend, just one person in his orbit who doesn't want anything from him and is not trying to get him.
Well, he does say towards the end of the documentary, like, people always show their true colors, and so I don't trust people. But the one person who is there for you, because he has said it before that, the Kardashian family showed him what it was to be like family, that they were always writing for him. And when he said there are half people who know him as Lammy, because that's what Chris calls him. But the one person who was there for you, or the family that was there for you, you treated them like shit. So I don't know. Is it a self fulfilling prophecy?
It it's hard to tell what came first, the chicken or the egg.
Yeah, because even after he survived and then he was throwing himself back in LA, the kids mentioned it. He didn't go see his kids. In fact, he started going to events. He started doing things and he just started like partying to show like, oh, I'm back and I'm good. At that TMZ or whoever video, when he got into the car and they were like, are you clean? And he was like, yeah, I am. Like, why are you asking? And things like that. So I'm like, is it shame? There's a point where you get so much shame or guilt where you're like, I can't face this. Or is it that he just never connected with his kids and he never wanted kids in the first place?
I think it's more of I'm like wanting kids and parenting kids, two very different
Two very
things.
different
And
things.
it's
Yeah.
also like, are you capable or are you, yeah. Is he incapable? I I mean,
Yeah.
uh, at
Yeah.
the end of the day, the people who are harmed are his kids. And
Yeah.
if I found this documentary very upsetting for his children
Yes.
because
Absolutely.
this man is a shit father basically since day one, and no signs that he's any better now. The amount of grace and forgiveness that kids have to have for parents like this just kind of pisses me
Yes, it does. I am with
off.
you, Aid, because honestly, it's going to be a lifetime of these kids wanting to prove to their father that he should love them more than he loves drugs, and it's not, I think, gonna happen. And even his son LJ saying like, I feel like I'm the parent and he's the kid, and they were showing them playing video games, and I still am not feeling no father son. And then in all of the documentary we still didn't hear him say, I want to be better for my kids, or I love my kids, or I appreciate the grace that they're giving me because they might not talk to me. We got none of that. In fact, guys, he ends the documentary by saying, "Oh, I'm Netflix now. I'm big time. And you know what? I'm going to go to Vegas. Fuck it." And the person was like, "Are you?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm joking." And I'm like, "Are you?"
Okay, so there are many moments throughout where I'm like, is this man still on drugs? When he started talking about how he wanted to be a coach, but he wants to be an NBA coach, but he probably needs to start in college and he wants to go back to school. Like at first I was like, oh, this is great. He wants to go back to school. Like he probably only
Mhm.
did 1 year before he went to the NBA.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, no, this sounds like grandiose plans. The grandiose plans of a person who is on drugs.
What? I didn't think that. I just thought it was like the blue sky syndrome where, you prefer laying out the plans, but will you actually do it? I don't know if you're going to do it. I mean, I kind of hope he does, because if he finds some kind of purpose, then that would be great. But listen, this man was on Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, for those who may not know, because he was allegedly dating Carly Red. Carly Red will always have a boyfriend. And I saw Lamar and I'm like, what are you doing here? Like, why are we here? So I don't know. I don't know. But
So
yeah,
is that your way of saying that he's still chasing fame?
I think he's lost. We can put that under the umbrella. I just feel like, well, I was saying like, I wish or hope that it's true that he wants to be a coach, start with college. Hey, go the Juan Dixon route. Just find a little college and, start coaching. But and that would give him some kind of structure and maybe some fulfillment for his basketball days. But I feel like he's lost, and I don't know if that's gonna happen. But also, was he in a rented house or his house? Because it was a pretty grand house.
I feel like that was a house for shooting a
For
documentary.
sure. Okay.
That was another that was another interesting thing Chloe said when she said basically, you guys, this is way side note, but the Kardashians did not film in their own house probably past the first couple seasons. And Chloe basically said, yeah, I was used to not filming in my house, but our show was actually at our house.
Mm-hmm.
And it reminded me of the greatest column that I miss every day, keeping up with the continuity errors, where every episode of the Kardashians, Mariah Smith would write down when stuff was actually filmed, where it was filmed. It was lovely. Sorry, side note. But yeah, when she
but
said that, I was like, I miss Mariah.
but it was done for safety reasons, right? Didn't
Yeah,
they
yeah.
say people were driving? Okay, okay, okay.
Like,
Yeah.
but yes, a lot of these documentaries they don't film at your house. They film at a house they rented to film at.
Okay. That was it. I just ended it with like, this is another surface documentary. We just wanted to check the box that we have a Lamar documentary, but I don't feel like I got to know anything more about him from his own mouth. Everything else is still projection and speculation from my mind.
Well, you are also way. You can name like all these. I've not thought about or really concerned myself with where Lamar has been since it seemed like he was out of the woods with the situation. So for
Hmm.
me, I was like glad to sort of get the full story as well as they could do it. You know what I mean? Like I don't think I don't think you're the target audience. I think people like me might be more the target audience.
So you felt, is fulfilled the right word?
I felt like I got more of half of the story I'd heard of before. Like I'd
Before?
heard
Okay.
half the story. I got much, much more of the story
Yeah.
um, from the people who were there. And I think it was mostly a true accounting, as the
Yeah.
best as people could tell it.
Yeah. Because I know he still doesn't remember. And like I said, I don't know if it's a defense mechanism, his mind has blocked it out, or hey, if he doesn't. Because, oh, that's the part we didn't talk about. Because ugh, this sounds so harsh, but it's true. To be an addict, you have to be a liar. You have to be a good liar. So the part where Chloe found him with crack, she found out that he had a phone because she was like, where or how did you contact people? You don't have a phone. You can't even type, but he could. He was not letting on that he was good or better than she thought. And she's here like hoping for the best for you, and you have that, and you were doing way better than you were letting on. So I don't
I
know.
mean, addicts are manipulative. They are, but manipulation is the wrong word. They know how to get what they need.
Yeah.
Khloe is not going to stick around if I'm well. I don't need to be well then.
Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunate. Okay. One last note is, if you are interested in reading this book, it is not the best book. Yes, he had a ghostwriter, but he did not put any effort into this. It's basically just getting the facts. It's called Darkness to Light, a memoir. Lamar Odom and Chris Palmer. This who wrote allegedly the book. So that's what it's called if you're looking for that. So any last thoughts, Aid?
Nope.
Okay. Well, thank you as always for coming to talk documentaries with me.
Very glad to be here. Yeah, look out, guys. We might do another documentary.
We just might. All right, guys, you know where to find me. It's also called MAFS on all of the socials. Please give me a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Really helps the podcast. And stay subscribed so you don't miss out on any new episodes. Until next time, guys. Bye.
Bye.